The Cubs just can't seem to get on a roll. We break it all down next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on all audio platforms, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Tuesday episode is presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. The Cubs have an inability to get on a roll as they continue to falter in series finales this season, this time losing 5-0 to the Padres on Monday. Cubs seemingly going one step forward, one step back, even one step forward, two steps back all campaign. Cubs now back to 7 games under 500. Sam, there's a number of places where we can start. The fact that they can't get on a roll in general, maybe series finale discussion. Potentially how they're not a fun team at all. There's also the strike zone in this ball game.
Yeah.
Which one of the 3 pitch clock violations by Hendricks was your favorite? His overall lack of sharpness, or perhaps no adjustments offensively. Where would you like to start?
Well, I would clap back. I didn't think Hendricks was a big problem tonight. 6 innings, 3 earned, one bad inning. This is who he is. This is a fifth starter. This is a tough lineup. It's one of those games, Matt, I'd say in a vacuum, meaning not talking about going into it, not talking about going out. It would be one of those games I would just say, hey, flush the tape, move on from it. You didn't have calls go your way. If Snell's getting those calls, his only weakness as a pitcher is his walks. So if he's not walking people, he's tough.
Yeah.
You move on. But you mentioned it. You don't have that luxury because you're, in second to last place. And you need to start stacking wins together. So you can't just do that. You can't just flush it. All these games matter because they need to get on a roll. And it feels like they've been playing better, but, they're 4-3 in their last 7, which you would take against Tampa and San Diego. They've won a bunch of one-run games in those situations, but that isn't making up any ground. They've lost ground, I believe, since then.
Yeah, they have.
So for the same reason earlier in the year, people would say, hey, well, the Cubs are losing a bunch of games, but they're still only 2 out. Well, now they're winning some games, but they're not winning enough to make up any ground. And if the standings are what matter, it gets to be frustrating. So, it's annoying. My takeaway, like what bothered me in this game is that Seiya Suzuki looks bad again. And he was starting to creep towards that 880, 890, 900 OPS plateau, which is where you hope he'd get. And I'm starting to think that, this might just be who he is, which is still a nice baseball player, but it's not a guy that you build your lineup around. It's not a guy you stick in the middle of the lineup every day and say, that's his spot. So hopefully he could turn it around. I don't believe he had a base hit this series. But it was a disaster of a game from the start. Everything went wrong. Blue hits, bad umpire calls. It was nice to see Ross get tossed. We'll talk about that. But I guess to answer your question, we could start with it all. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah,
they're front runners. They're front runners. When they get off to a good start, when they get off to a good start and everything's rolling, they win. When they face a little bit of adversity in the game, they're down 2-3-0. They go down like a sack of potatoes.
And that's just exactly what happened Monday. I'm sorry to say, but I didn't watch much of this game after the top of the third. I was just defeated.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating from the beginning. And yeah, I get it with the zone. We'll talk about it, but It's they're really hitting a lot of parts of the no fun bingo card. Sunday night I ended up rewatching our episode from late March, and it was titled "What defines a good Cub season in 2023." And I rewatched basically the whole show, especially the first segment. And of course, to nobody's surprise at this point, especially not me, you said that for as much as you would like to track players individually, it's going to come down to the win-loss results. That ultimately, in this type of a year, based on how this franchise is going, you are paying it. Yeah, you would like to see Suzuki have a nice year and Swanson have a good debut with the Cubs. But it's going to come down to the wins and losses. That's exactly what you said. And I said they have to win more than they lose. I said 82-80 would be a good year if we're talking wins, losses. And now there's 7 games under again, and it doesn't look to me like there's any life.
And trending badly.
Trending badly.
I know people are going to say 4-3 in their last 7. I get it. But
I know that, but
it's
the big picture, folks.
Life.
It's not just about the last week. It's not just about, Monday. And again, Hendricks is a hero of mine as a fan.
Yeah.
But he allowed a 2-run homer to Gary Sanchez, who has been on 3 teams already this year.
Yeah, and he threw a good pitch.
Yeah. Blake Snell is effectively wild, if that's still a term.
Sure.
61% strikes. You want 60 plus, so he was there.
Yeah.
But he had some pitches that were just not competitive. He throws a shutout through 6, K's 8.
Yeah.
Suzuki might be a bust. Swanson continues to chase. Happ is ice cold. Morel is freezing cold. And Mervis might not be on the team.
Right.
Where's he at? I know he wasn't going to start against a lefty. And then
he's probably not going to start tomorrow either.
The fact that they're this bad in this National League. How are they this bad in this National League and in this NL Central? The Pirates won their 6th straight game Monday and are now back in first place. And they have on paper what you would call an average roster.
If that.
The paper would be crumpled a bit. It's so average.
Right.
It's not even a clean loose leaf sheet. And they've won 6 in a row.
Right.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Andrew McCutchen.
They're the opposite of what I thought they would be.
The opposite. I thought they'd be Pittsburgh. Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, Connor Joel, Carlos Santana.
Let's go through it.
R. Castro, whoever that is. Cabrian Hayes, Jay Bay, M. Mathias, Hedges. And then pitching today was Oviedo, who's got a 4.29. And the only thing that they really have on paper that's significantly better than the Cubs is their bullpen. Holderman, Bednar.
Yeah, it's a solid pen. Brian Reynolds is a star player.
Yeah, I'd say he's a really good player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about maxing out what you have, and the Cubs are just very underwhelming. And hopefully Tuesday night they're 2-2 on this trip. Hopefully they can win Tuesday night, get to 3-2, and it feels like they never can win that game. That, like, for example, like I texted you today, they win today. We come on the show tonight saying the Cubs are pretty hot right now. 5 out of 7 Rays, Padres. They never can win that game.
Never.
They had a chance to sweep Tampa. They find a way to lose. I believe they're now 4-14 in season finale or series finales this year.
Yeah, it's poor.
Thankfully,
this at least was on a Monday.
Yeah, right. No, they finally won a Sunday game because it wasn't a finale.
Right.
So
who should I thank for that? Who should I write a thank you card note to that for?
Yeah, no, it was
Jiminy Christmas, dude.
It was a lifeless performance tonight.
Thank you.
There's some really troubling things. I mean, Morel,
right?
Mervis doesn't even play, and I had a late dinner, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of why.
What did you get? Or
I had a grilled chicken sandwich.
Okay, yeah, we can't really talk about companies on this show, I guess.
No, I had a grilled chicken sandwich about 8:15. By the time I finished it was 3-0 San Diego. So, yeah, when the highlight of the game is the manager getting tossed, it's usually not a good one. But hey, the good news is this.
Oh,
I got nothing.
Hey, we're going to talk about the manager coming up next. Today's episode is presented by Game Time. You still thinking about going to a Cubs game this year?
No.
You could buy your tickets with Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Certainly not as stressful as these Cubs games. And you blink, they're out of these games, dude. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. As Suzuki strikes out again with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. The Cubs play the Angels at 8:38, kind of an odd time, p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. David Ross was ejected from Monday's game for arguing balls and strikes, and there was a balls and strikes problem, especially early by home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Clear definition of the strike zone from the top of the first, as Cuzzy was calling pitches 1 or 2 balls, maybe even more, outside of the zone strikes. Ross was ejected 1 inning later in the top of the second. But I guess my position, Sam, is it's a little bit of like a too little, too late almost, is kind of my instinct. I'm glad that he went out there. However, there have been numerous opportunities to do so in the first 59 games.
Sure.
Especially balls and strikes on your 3-4 hitters.
Right.
And Suzuki.
Right.
So I thought I would have a more enthusiastic response to it, but it was actually somewhat muted on my side.
Yeah, I think for me, like you said, it's really not about the whole, I don't really believe in the whole, hey man, fire up the team thing. It's about defending your players because Happen Suzuki really rely on borderline pitches going their way for them to be successful. And over again, they get rung up on them. And so it was nice to see. I think his point of view today was, all right, it's a big zone. You know what? That's probably going to help Kyle. And then once Kyle was starting to get squeezed off of what was supposed to be a big zone, that was enough. I enjoyed it. I thought it was appropriate. It was nice to see. It was unfortunate that literally as he got ejected, I think 3 pitches later, the game was over.
Right.
Which talks about how important those pitches were, because who knows? I thought it was appropriate. So, I've been asking for him to do it, so I'm not going to get on him for doing it. I just thought on the defensive side of the ball for Kyle Hendricks, I just thought it was just a really unlucky outing tonight. I thought he had good stuff. I know he made some tough pitches. I know Sanchez hit one ball well and Carpenter hit it well. But overall, it's like the hit that Machado had to start that inning was, and then the pitch clock violations. And then that was about as visibly frustrated as I've ever seen Kyle Hendricks. I don't know if he was frustrated with Amaya because they couldn't get on the same page. They couldn't get on the same page at all. or if he was frustrated with just the rule changes, if he was frustrated with pitch comm, it'd be a nice thing to find out. It was, we're recording here, right after the game. I'd like to look at that. But he was definitely
probably a combo platter of frustration, right?
He was definitely visibly frustrated, and it usually doesn't show it. I mean, I've seen Kyle Hendricks have some of the worst outings a starter can have, but he was frustrated tonight. So it's nice to see. Nice to see a couple guys on the team, show emotions. Like for me, and I know this will rub a lot of people the wrong way, but that's fine. For me, like when they're down 5-0 and Christopher Morel's smiling and like picking up the helmet for Gary Sanchez and stuff, like that doesn't do much for me. Like I like when the players of my team show that they're upset that this team stinks. For some people it doesn't matter, and I'm totally here for that, but that's just how I am.
Yeah, you've been like that for a while.
Yeah.
And
it's not funny.
Please, no one, just a PSA, please, nobody posit the narrative that the umpire cost the Cubs the game, please.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't help him.
The umpire missed calls, but I got news for you. Ross and the Cubs have missed the call in 2023.
Yeah.
The call to contend, done.
Yeah, it's going to
stop.
Call
to be interesting, done.
It's going to stop ringing pretty soon.
Call to be fun, done. And so many other labels to pick from. It's not an umpire, folks.
No. But he did hurt them in the early stages of that game.
And did he work on a dance move or two in the clubhouse?
And how about did you catch it like a few innings later? There was a called third. He didn't even know it was a called third, the umpire. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, I mean,
and justifiably the one that Ross got thrown out on, Phil Cuzzy did a freshman umpire thing.
Yeah, you can't.
Where he actually had a flinch on a ball call.
Yeah,
his arm actually started to go up to call a strike.
No, like a hard flinch.
Yeah, a bad flinch, correct.
Yeah. He had a bad night tonight. He had a bad night. It hurt the Cubs. They probably were
he was brutal.
They probably were going to lose regardless. But like Sutcliffe said, in late games, you'd like to see how that first inning would have went if they got that call. The worst call of the game was the 3-2 on Amaya. That was ridiculous. Right. That breaking ball never started.
It was a breaking ball, right?
Yeah, it is what it is. But again, I don't have a problem with umpiring when you're consistent, which he wasn't tonight. But the Cubs seem to do a pretty bad job of adjusting to that, especially Happ and Suzuki. And people always say, Sam, you can't adjust to it and change your approach if the umpires. Sure, you can. I mean, I grew up
over the course of a game.
Yeah, every game that I played in growing up, there was a guy. Hey, we'd be told, hey, this guy's going to give a few inches outside, so you got to protect. That's just part of the game.
Right after that first inning, you have information.
Yeah, and
to
be fair, after Ross got ejected, he cleaned it up, and that's why I call for a guy like that to get ejected because it actually impacts the game. Because Ross, you got to remember when Ross comes out, he has the footage, he has the iPad, so he can tell the umpire, and that's what he did. He goes, "You missed," and he said, "You're missing by this much."
Yeah.
So the ump knows, and then he cleans it up. That's the value of getting ejected. You're going to get calls after that. He's going to clean it up. So it is what it is. It didn't. We're talking about it too much. It didn't. The outcome of the game was the outcome of the game. Vegas had the Padres. I think they closed at like minus 180 for a reason. So.
Oh boy. Okay, I didn't know it was that bad. All right, coming up next, we go through some news and notes, injury updates, but also a couple other updates as well. Stay tuned. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. But when we spend all our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burned out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. And you can do that with BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Wasn't sure. Actually, I am sure. We didn't officially report that Justin Steele did go to the IL. he will miss at least 2 starts, although I have a theory, Sam, and I'm guessing listeners can guess the tone of my Cubs fandom right now, but I think Steele's going to return after the All-Star break.
Wow.
Especially with how poorly they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be conservative with that.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger, his timeline is still unclear despite him talking to reporters on Sunday, although
he might
Rick
be back.
Sutcliffe might have leaked out that he's going to report to Mesa this week before going out on a rehab assignment.
Yeah, he might be back by like Labor Day.
Oh dear.
I'm joking. Let me just
please.
Let me just correct myself. They just changed the air for Wisdom, so all 4 runs for Hendricks were earned. That feels cruel.
Well, that's an error.
Yeah, that feels very cruel.
How did that get changed? Based on what? It's a routine GB.
Yeah, no.
It went literally right under his glove, dude.
Yeah, the Steele thing. I think.
I mean, they can't even make plays, man.
The Steele thing, I wouldn't put a top. I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely hear what you're saying.
Well, I'm tortured. That's why I'm putting it out there.
And again, there's been no credibility with these injuries. I mean, 48
benefit of the doubt.
48 hours after Bellinger was injured, Ross said he could pinch hit in Philadelphia, and he's still not close to playing. So, the news you take away from it is that there's nothing structurally wrong with his elbow, and that's what I've taken, and then leave it be. Wisniewski's got an opportunity on Tuesday to show that he could, he's been able to figure some things out. He's going to face, a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the greatest, most talented baseball players of all time. So we'll see how that goes.
That's true. Also, a couple other notes.
Go get him, Hayden.
Christopher Morel did pregame work Monday at first base.
I'm worried about how the Cubs are going to get Trout out because I watch Trout all the time. All he has is the way you get him out is you throw face high, chest high fastballs. There's nobody on the Cubs that throws that pitch.
Yeah, I don't even want to preview the Angel series. They also have Ohtani. He's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
he's
one of the great. That's what I was talking about when I said one of the greatest baseball players ever.
Oh,
Trout, first ballot Hall of Famer. Ohtani, one of the greatest talents ever.
And the final notes.
The Cubs, it'll be like Hunter Renfroe will hit a couple homers.
Final note here. I just wanted to update everybody so we're on the same page. Edwin Rio still holds a roster spot despite 2 turns on this roster, as he is 2 for 28 with 16 strikeouts, and that's the show.
Well, we do have some good news.
All right.
I think Ben Brown's now in the top 100.
Oh yeah,
because somebody graduated. I forgot who it was, but so two pitchers in the top 100. PCA, Alcantara. Let's get a win Tuesday.
All right, Cubs Angels. At least a consistent first pitch time all 3 days.
8:38.
After a cavalcade of them against the Padres. 8:38.
What a weird series this was.
A very strange series.
Hey, 4-3 versus the Padres.
Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week, and you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. And if you're checking us out each and every weekday, I say God bless you. And I don't mean because you're sneezing. We really appreciate that, despite the Cubs' performance. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on SiriusXM. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.